You are listening to the Daily Gospel Reflections with Sister Cloth. This podcast is brought to you by the Paulines Multimedia. It is our mission to bring the Word of God to all peoples through sounds and images, voices, and music. Come and join us as we share with you a thought a day. A reading from the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 12, verses 13 to 21. Someone in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, tell my brother to share the inheritance with me." He replied to him, "Friend, who appointed me as your judge and arbitrator?" Then he said to the crowd, "Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions." Then he told them a parable. There was a rich man whose land produced a bountiful harvest. He asked himself, "What shall I do, for I do not have space to store my harvest?" And he said, "This is what I shall do. I shall tear down my barns and build larger ones. There I shall store all my grain and other goods, and I shall say to myself, 'Now, as for you, you have so many good things stored up for many years. Rest, eat, drink, be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this night your life will be demanded of you, and the things you have prepared, to whom will they belong?' Thus will it be for the one who stores up treasure for himself, but is not rich in what matters to God." Welcome back to our daily reflections. My friends, what do you think about Jesus' warning? Take care, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. One writer from the Theology of Work project inspired me regarding this passage, who says that our commitment to the ways and means of God's kingdom extends to how we manage our wealth. And that is a question of the kind of attention one pays to material needs and the accumulation of resources. The article says that a person is foolish if one pays anxious attention to wealth. If he lets these resources displace his trust in God, he becomes unfaithful. If he pays excessive attention to them, he will become greedy. That reminds me of St. Matthew's passage in chapter 6, verse 24, where it says, "No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other." That's true because if a person is overly concerned with his material possessions, he is no longer serving God, but rather he is serving money. He now becomes its slave. On top of that, today's gospel reminds me that material goods don't last, and so does my life here on earth. We just heard about the parable of the rich man who thought of building a large barn where he could store all his crops and other goods. Then he said to himself, "My soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, be merry." But God said to him, "You foolish one, tonight your soul is required of you. The things which you have prepared, whose will they be?" So is he who lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. Disturbing. Indeed, we are just pilgrims here on earth, journeying towards eternity. One writer pokes fun by saying that heaven and hell have no banks, to keep our money, and neither do these places have garages to park our material goods. Funny, but it's a way of saying that the accumulation of unneeded possessions is unnecessary for life hereafter. What is of great value here on earth and in the next is what pleases God more, treating people well, empathizing with them, and reaching out to them. One writer eloquently says, we are meant to use possessions and to love people, not to love possessions and use people. I'd like to end this with Jesus' warning: do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and day destroy and thieves break in and steal, but store up treasures in heaven where neither moth nor decay destroys, nor thieves break in and steal. Be with us again tomorrow as we share with you a thought a day. Meanwhile, you can follow us and listen to other Apple and Google podcasts on Spotify, produced by Paulines Multimedia. Have a good day.